Van Allen. Welcome to the American Synthesis Party Lecture Series Part 3. The subject of this lecture is population growth, resources, and the economy. Global populations continue to expand at an unsustainable pace. What does this mean for us as Americans? It means there are going to be more people in the world competing for the limited resources that we need to maintain our standard of living and our quality of life. It means that unless some revolutionary technologies emerge that will allow us to do more with less, we will experience a decline in our standard of living. We have not been conditioned to face such possibilities. Business interests know that perennial optimism is necessary to support consumer markets. Our culture in general has conditioned us to have a positive outlook, but at some point, a positive outlook can become a positivity bias. We have traditionally been a very forward-looking and optimistic people. But there are times when optimism is misplaced. There are times when optimism will run into a brick wall. If my analysis is correct, we are headed into such times. So how did I reach this conclusion? Very simply, we live in a world of rapidly growing populations and rapidly declining resources. When key resources come under enough pressure, it will increase their cost. That is, it will lead to inflation. When inflation reaches a certain point, it will result in a decrease in aggregate demand or in the overall demand for goods and services. And when the overall demand for goods and services falls to a certain point, it will lead to an increase in unemployment. When unemployment reaches a certain point, it will lead to social and political unrest in the United States and throughout the world. Many people are ignoring these probabilities. They are convinced that new technologies will emerge in time to save us. But I argue that it will take a quantum leap in technology to save us. And because such a leap in technology is unlikely to occur over the shorter term, we need to have a plan B. The best way for us to protect ourselves from the consequences that will follow from overpopulation is to prevent overpopulation in the first place. We have the means available to do this. The best way to limit our population growth domestically is to drastically limit immigration and to reduce government incentives for people to have larger families. If we fail to limit our population growth, each one of us will have to do more with less. Competition over scarce resources will increase. Life will become harder for us all. The quest for personal happiness will give way to concerns for mere survival. Try to imagine a world in which the quest for personal happiness is no longer the highest value. Try to imagine a world in which the quest to avoid suffering and economic deprivation have become the highest values. On our current course, this is the kind of world we are headed into. We are headed into tough times, and nobody wants to face it or make the sacrifices that are necessary to prevent it. Therefore, things are destined to get worse. You can argue that technology will save us and that things will turn out not nearly as badly as I have predicted. You can label me a prophet of doom if you want. But there are rare times in history when prophets of doom are correct. Consider this possibility. This concludes the third lecture.